So I'm here with Hugh, Serein Records.
Serein
Records.
That's it.
We're here at Kimmery Beach. I was always intrigued what went into running a label, and Serein has. It's not pure electronica, but it's got a lot of electronic-ness to it, right?
Yeah, in the early days people would have said we're releasing post-classical sort of stuff, but the post bit there often means there's a bit of electronic stuff going on. So I'd say even the stuff that sounds quite acoustic, the guys are using, DAWs, or they've got some electronic processing going on, but everyone's into synths these days anyway, aren't they?
So how do you get into this kind of thing? Because I mean, it seems like everybody has the idea of a record company executive. You're not sitting on a swivelly chair, and you're not in a penthouse suite. So what's going on?
Not right now, I'm not. No, but no. Okay, so it started off 10 years ago, pretty much, and I started it off. It was all for free, so it was like a net label. We did just MP3 stuff, pure hobby, mates, just putting stuff out there for free, downloads. And
you'd promote it. Is that where you kind of got into the angle of it?
Yeah, I'm running out and finding the music, but in '09 we started doing some CDs and thinking, well, let's make a go of it. Do you know what I mean? And now we're doing vinyl, CD, and
it's weird. That's sort of counter.
Shops
it's kind of counter, isn't it?
I know people say that.
Yeah,
most
but
people are going the other way.
That's so wrong, isn't it?
Well, we're on all the digital avenues as well, so we're on iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere, and I love all that. I haven't got a bad word to say about the streaming services. I know a lot of people have. It's great for us.
Does it work more from a promotional point of view, the streaming? Because obviously, like Spotify is legendarily low payout for artists and labels, presumably as well.
Yeah, I mean per stream it is, but if you're lucky enough, which we have been, to get into one of the Spotify curated playlists, they're getting thousands and thousands of plays every day. So it can work. It can work.
So they're effectively almost a kind of higher level filter, label filter in many ways.
Exactly, it's sort of quality control, I suppose. They're curated playlists. I mean, I'm not saying they're all brilliant, and there's loads of them. But for example, there's a playlist for working to, a playlist for sleeping to, and it's all curated. And obviously, I think it's a different audience. It's a more casual listener who's going to go and click on a playlist like that, and they just want.
So you get high discovery rates, I suppose,
exactly.
Through that, right?
So I don't know for a fact, but I would guess that people finding us that way may well then check out the site and maybe buy a CD or buy a record. But you've got to cater to everybody, right? It's the casual listener and the diehards who are going to go out and buy the records, the vinyl. Not everyone's a vinyl collector,
And so, I mean, how do you find that works? So do people, I mean, presumably you're working remotely with a lot of your artists, you don't have them, you don't have your own studio, or am I making assumptions there?
No, I work from home, so I got a nice little home office, but yeah, it's like Skype with people, and I've just started working with a great girl called Imoke who's doing some social and marketing stuff for us. So the team is now 2, which is nice. But yeah, it's like, life is great, running a label is amazing. And
so, I mean, I think part of the thing is these days, because a lot of the excess of the 80s and 90s, labels were considered almost a pariah. What does a label do these days? So like yours, shall we say?
Yeah, as I said, it started off labour of love, but now we're making money, and it's sort of become a viable. I'm spending most of my days on it now, and I think that's partly because of the vinyl resurgence, and partly because people have kind of gone back to this whole thing now where everything's kind of gone. People want to know where things are coming from. People want to know that things are made with love. Do you
think it's almost like a boutique industry or a cottage?
People often refer to Serein as a boutique label. I don't really know what that means exactly, but I'm fine with that. I mean, I think it's because, we put a lot of effort into the artwork, the design, the packaging, everything. I mean, we got a release coming up in August, double LP, ambient, so there's like 16 tracks of contact, a load of really great guys. We're doing it with a screen print, so there'll be a screen print edition, 100 of those. And it's all linking into that thing, handmade stuff.
People want something special.
I think the labels are really getting a lot of interest now, that tend to be the smaller indie labels, I don't know. Did anyone ever really follow the big ones? I don't know, maybe back in the day, but I don't know so much about that.
Well, I'm not sure about follow, but it was a conduit for most of the popular, the high popularity stuff.
But that's not, we're not swimming in those streams, you know what I mean? It's like, we do, it's niche music for niche market, but those guys love it. It's similar to this stuff. Think of all the boutique Eurorack makers and how into it all these guys are. It's small, but people are so into it that it's sustainable.
That's great. I mean, and so do you tend to get involved with the mastering, or or is it just you kind of?
I don't master, but everything is mastered, So I've worked with a local guy, Donald Whelan, Havard Mastering. He's a great guy, and we've had stuff mastered by a guy called Sean Hatfield in the US.
Right.
Just because they're suited to different things, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I was curious about was how do you find new artists? Because you must have started with like one or two. I mean,
Yeah.
how does the roster increase? Where do you go for a gut reaction, or do you think commercially that would work? I mean, how do you tend to?
It's really hard now, especially now, to not consider the commercial aspect a bit. I mean, you have to, right? Otherwise you end up with no money. So there is a bit of that, but often I'm reaching out to guys. So the compilation, this release we got coming up, was me reaching out to people that I respect, who maybe knew a bit about the label already. But I get sent a lot of good demos, and a lot of great demos, and some releases come about that way. But yeah, it's always a gut thing. We don't release just one genre either, so it has to be a kind of, and I know I don't want to. So it's a gut thing. Does that feel Serein-like? Yeah, I'll put it out,
And what is Serein like?
Serein-like, whoa, that's on the spot. I guess for me, it has to have this kind of melodic aspect. I'm not really too much into the super harsh, noisy stuff, at least not for the label. I'm not saying I don't listen to it. But it has this musicality, I think. Everything on Serein has a certain musicality to it, which that's what I look for, I suppose.
Right, okay. And do you find yourself having to go to gigs and, surf at YouTube and looking for that sort of stuff, or does it come to you now?
I'm not much of a gig goer, really. I never have been. I don't know exactly why. But yeah, I just keep an ear to the ground, I suppose. And I'm reaching out to people whose music I like, and generally I get positive outcomes.
Excellent, that sounds great. So where can people find about the artist? What's the website?
Okay, so the only place to go really is the website. So www.serein.co.uk.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Nick.